Welcome to Conversations with Aaliyah. Tune in for inspiration, information, and upliftment as creatives and entrepreneurs share their journeys, challenges, and successes.
Chrissy Hogue Bartels is a multi-award-winning actor with a recent Best Supporting Actress Award from the Iowa Motion Picture Association for her role as Katie in a film she produced titled A Swan Song. She recently became SAG eligible after booking a co-star on the popular NBC TV show Chicago PD. She holds an MFA in TV and film with a concentration in script and screenwriting and has one feature-length script, 4 short screenplays, and a full-length stage play written. Chrissy most recently performed a graduation Type 5 via the Second City Stand-Up 1 class and is hitting open mics virtually and all over the country, depending on where she's working. Chrissy also coaches actors and teaches communication at Clarke University and Southern New Hampshire University. She is currently in production on several films. Today we're going to talk real quick about Chrissy's acting career, how she started, challenges she faced, and then also recent wins. She's got a couple of bookings just recently that we'll hear about, and then where she would like to head. All right, Chrissy, this is a lot. This is huge. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for saying all that. That made today's restful day feel really earned.
You do a lot.
Oh, wow, busy.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun. I'm so pleased to be here, Leah. I've been ogling your podcast for quite some time since I met you.
It's been 6-8 months ago or something.
Yep,
we met. How did we meet?
I think I was going to be doing something for Wendy Elaine Wright's group.
Yes. Hollywood. Hollywood Winner Circle. Yes, Hollywood Winner Circle. And if anybody wants to check that out, maybe I can have Wendy be a guest.
Oh, she would probably love to be a guest. She loves to be a guest on things like this. Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, perfect. Well, until then, in the meantime, if anyone decides to join Hollywood Winner Circle or go check it out, somehow you can be an affiliate. So, go ahead and click on Chrissy's link or my link and we can get like a little bonus. My link. Okay, my link, because Chrissy's so kind.
Definitely. Yes, you should put that in the show notes. So I'll just plug it real quick. I mean, Hollywood Winner Circle is insane. It was developed by a Hollywood talent manager named Wendy Elaine Wright. I stumbled upon it in, I think it was 2008, at the end of 2018. I signed up for this course for the amount of money that I paid for it back then. It was unbelievable what I got for it. And within 2 weeks of finishing that course, I was booking work like a maniac. I mean, she helps you set up everything properly. And it was just, it paid for itself in no time. Yeah. And at the point, I had already gone to undergrad. I had been at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I continued training at the Second City. And oh my God, I've always been training for 30 years. I just keep training. Then I got my MFA. And still, the amount of money that I made after following the steps she put in to her course.
Yeah.
I wish I had done that first when I was, 18, graduating from high school. I would have never spent money on anything else ever again.
Right.
Because I was just getting paid to perform.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Well, I think that, the craft, it sounds like, you did all the craft work, right, for acting. That's what you studied, as well as the screenwriting and film and all of that. But what I believe Wendy teaches, because I haven't taken her course personally, but I know you and some other people who've taken her course, and you guys have all raved about it and have gotten great results. But from my understanding, it's a business of acting course, and that's the difference. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But because of that, this is perfect segue into your journey as an actor, because you went to American Academy Dramatic Arts. That's huge. You studied acting there, right? You've got your screenwriting, you've got an MFA, you did all of that. And then and of course you've acted, right, in theater during the time you were doing all of the studying and classes. So when and how did you transition from theater into TV and film?
So throughout the last 10 years, I would say, about 10 years ago, I got my first agent, and that launched me into television and
Mm-hmm.
film.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately was booking commercials and voiceover work. While I was doing that, I was also performing a one-woman show called The Stupid Economy, in which I played
Mm.
7 characters. And that was really great because I was able to get that recorded by a television studio who I had done commercial work through. So,
Yes.
they say connections and relationships are everything. That's absolutely true. Um,
Yeah.
but because of that being on film, I was able to use that to break into film because I had myself on. And at that time, also, there was a group of people coming together to start the Julian Dubuque International Film Festival, which
To
is
to start the what? I'm sorry?
the Julian Dubuque International Film Festival. It is an
Okay.
international film festival. It's named top 50 film festivals in the world
Nice.
continuously in Movie Maker magazine. It's a very fun. It's probably one of the best film festivals I've ever attended. And I helped
Where
start
is this?
in Dubuque, Iowa.
Okay, great. And so
So
you helped start this film festival?
I did, and
Nice.
I was on the board for like a year, and then I stepped back and haven't had anything to do with it ever since. A woman named Susie Gorell took over, and she is just amazing. The things she has done with it, I could have never done.
Oh,
If I would have stayed in charge of that thing, it would have failed.
no.
Because I want to act and write, and I don't want to run a film festival. But I was having too much fun in those days too, just to be honest.
Yes.
Um,
Did you want to go into that or should we continue moving forward? I mean, yeah.
not go into that. Oh, we all had fun in our 20s, right? No, I was
Yes.
just too
Yeah.
busy pursuing my one-woman show. But because of the film festival, that's why I got into becoming a producer and a writer and a director. So we made several films during that period of time that launched me into television and film. Long way to answer your question about how.
No, it's perfect. It's so perfect because what I find so interesting is that everyone's journeys are so different, even when it's the same quote unquote career or field. Like, okay, going to school, learning acting, that part sounds pretty similar, but being on the board of creating an international film festival, which led you to produce and direct your own films. Wow, that's so
It
cool.
was very fun. It was crazy. It was so
Yeah,
much fun. But it continued, yeah, to do that.
yeah.
My the journey of that festival was interesting because it really boils down to relationships. The 2 gentlemen who wanted to start this film festival were doing a film festival for high schools.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to high schools and doing this, and then they had this idea like we can do this bigger and do it for the
Mm,
community. And
mm.
I am friends with a dear friend of mine is the sister-in-law to Kate Mulgrew, who is Orange is the New Black. She played
Oh,
Red on that. And she was Captain Janeway in Star Trek multiple eons ago.
oh,
She's Dubuque's baby. She's Dubuque's claim to the world. They just love her because she went off and became a TV star.
because
Uh,
she was from Dubuque,
yeah,
Iowa?
yeah.
Okay, nice.
And so I was able to connect those 2 who had a dream and a vision with a person who could draw
Yeah.
the community together and finance this idea. And she agreed most graciously. She was the chair of this film festival for a couple of years, and
Wow.
because of that,
Yeah.
the community came out. I mean, business owners are like, Katie's going to be home, she's going to do this, she's for us. And they just threw money at it, and it
Wow.
made this into this great film festival. So it was really just a magical period of time for this this community.
I
So
love this so much. So, okay, so you did your one woman show. Like, that sounds like that was the main jumping off point of acting for you beyond the school. Would you agree and say that's accurate?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, what made me do the one woman show, or what made me think to do that? So,
Yeah.
because so after I watched the Twin Towers come down from my dad.
Oh, oh my God.
I'm from New York City originally.
Holy
Um,
crap.
I had just gotten home from college. I had taken a whole extra semester of college in order to walk through Europe as part of this program with my school. So I
Ooh.
really had just continuously to put myself in debt. And then I came home to New York, and my father who was a bohemian, a playwright, an amazing human, but he just like moved in with this Broadway actress.
Oh.
No place to live. Like, okay. So I had to immediately figure out a way to get, employed, which I did. I was bartending, but after September 11th, it was just impossible to make rent. People weren't going out anymore and
Yeah.
whatever. But I had
Yeah.
family living here in the Midwest. My mother had met her husband in the Army, and he was from Dubuque, Iowa. So at some point, it was December 1st, 2001. That, like within a couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
between not being able to really pull off financially anything, and Broadway shows starting to close because of
Mm-hmm.
the atmosphere, just the way that it was in New York right after September 11th. I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm gonna go hang out in Dubuque for a little while, see if I can save some money, maybe head to LA. So I did that. Now, even though my first year after graduating, I had been on 5 auditions and I had booked 3 out of those 5 auditions. They were pretty good numbers. And so I was feeling very hopeful about an acting career. It
Yes.
wasn't to be, not there at that time. But I landed here. And in this area, it's just impossible to make a living as an actor from
Mm-hmm.
here,
Mm-hmm.
especially back then. This is way
Inter,
pre-technology,
yeah.
pre everything that you could do,
Pre-Zoom, pre-everything.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
you weren't sending I couldn't even get one of those big old video recorders and tapes myself because I couldn't get the audition in time to get that done. You know what I mean? Like
It was a
backstage on
whole other
paper.
world. Yeah.
Totally different world.
Yeah.
Um, so I was doing community theater while saving money to put together my plan to get to LA. I wanted to continue to grow my skills on stage and a resume and,
Yeah.
community. And in that time, I did do an audition at the Goodman. Actually, got a call back at the Goodman, my first audition at the Goodman, and I just thought, oh my, the Goodman is it's one of the most famous theater companies in Chicago, next to the
Ooh.
Steppenwolf Theater Company. Like the
Now I
Goodman
have
and
heard of Steppenwolf.
yeah,
Okay.
those two. The
Yeah.
Steppenwolf is like for those of us nitty gritty actors who like to do like new work, right? That's the Steppenwolf. That's how I see that. And the
Oh.
Goodman is like they're going to do nitty gritty, but it's going to be more of that. You can see the things that that would be on Broadway, but they're not.
Mm.
They're produced there.
Okay.
And I really have botched that. That may not be entirely the best way to describe it, but it was really good to get a call back from the Goodman in my first audition for them. Uh,
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt like a blessing, but that was then something tragic occurred again in my life, and I had to move back to Dubuque. So I had spent about a year in Chicago pursuing an acting career, mostly bartending because that's just the nature of the beast. But then I had to move back to Dubuque, and then I got married and had children, and so now I'm here.
So you got derailed. When did you know and start wanting to be an actor?
So when I was 6 years old,
Mm-hmm.
they were producing a play, and I knew I knew this. Anyway, they were producing the Nativity. We've all done the choir nativity thing. At any rate, they weren't casting it. They weren't doing auditions. We were 6, it was like first grade. And they were just handing out, you had to go up and pick your role out of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
I picked out my role and I opened it and it said chorus or choir. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember which word it was, but I knew it wasn't Mary. who was
Mm-hmm.
the lead.
Mm-hmm.
At 6 years old, I was devastated that I got a peripheral character that I had to sing. Now, maybe I liked to sing at that time. I don't remember. I just remember being devastated that I got this role.
Mm.
And so I run back to my seat and everybody's sitting there. I'm deflated. And the person, the choir teacher, whoever it was, the director, whoever it was, I moved out of this school, so I don't remember who, I don't know who they were, because my memory is shot on it and I didn't create a memory by being there very long. But anyway, somebody came up to that person and one of the other students, my peers, came up to that person, whispered in the ear of this person, and then they said, I'm not going to tell you what this is, but if you would like to trade out your role, please raise your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think I heard the whole sentence, but my hand went up, Chrissy. And I went up and I traded my role and I got married.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know if I manifested that or if God blessed me or what it must have been, but I remember that being the moment in my life where it set up my life was going to do this thing. And I'd always then henceforth auditioned,
Yes.
and I've always wanted to do it. It's always seemed
Yes.
like I was supposed to do it, I feel like.
Right. So ever since you were 6, that you knew this was your path, acting, and you did it. You did it at college. I'm assuming you did theater, all the way through elementary school, the plays, high school, and then obviously college, and then after graduating, you did.
I got derailed so many times. So I didn't actually really do any theater again
Hmm.
until high school.
Okay, so that then a break. High school's when you next started doing acting. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I had actually auditioned for the Fame High School, but I didn't know how to audition, so I didn't get in. But then my sister, because she came up later than me,
Mm-hmm.
she wrote the film that I just won the Best Supporting Actress role
Ooh,
in. That's
nice.
she's kind of
Is
my
she
lifelong journeyman.
is she younger than you or older?
2 years
Younger.
young.
2 years younger. Okay. It's nice that you guys are like, buddy siblings.
Yeah, we are. We
Yeah.
could probably have done a lot more together, but the world just has kept us from doing a lot more.
Yeah.
That goes. You know how that
Yeah.
goes.
But
Yeah.
the future is still yet to come. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
so you had to take a break. Something derailed you again, and anytime you want, you can go more deeply if you want to be more specific. But if it's anything that you don't want to share specifically, that's okay too. But you got derailed, and then you didn't start again until high school is when you acted again.
Yeah. And that was, my director was my English teacher, right?
Mm,
And
mhm.
I had a big mouth. I don't know what, I mean, I just answered things in a goofy way. I think she'd tell you. So somebody said something, she was talking about how she was an actor on Broadway and then something. And somebody asked her if she ever got famous. And I piped in something like, does it look like she got famous? She's teaching you English. I wasn't trying to be rude or funny. I was just making an observation, but she loved it,
Mm.
loved it. And
Uh-huh.
she's going to be producing the theater, and she had cast me in a tiny little role because I was a freshman or whatever and new.
Yeah.
Um, the person playing the supporting role quit 2 weeks before we opened.
Mm.
It was a male role.
Yeah.
And she came to me and she was like, do you know anybody? And I was like, if it were me, I would uh, cast me
Uh-huh.
as a tomboy in
Yeah.
this role
Yeah.
because it can be played that way. And it was Enter Laughing, and that's what she did. And then I had an acting career in high school.
Wow. Isn't that crazy how things work out? Because somebody, for whatever reason, quit 2 weeks before. And then she asked you, and you're like, I would do it as a tomboy. And she's like, okay. And then there you are.
I memorized lines and off we went.
Yeah.
But I have so many instances like that, Aaliyah, where I feel like spiritually, like I'm meant to, that like I was designed to be an actor.
Yeah.
And so these things open up and these possibilities happen and all of these magical experiences happen. I mean, I was winning awards in college and going to Rome, Italy to compete. And I just had some magical things happen. And then booking 3 out of 5 and September 11th, and just impossible for me to carry on there. And
Sure.
then,
Yeah.
all of these other things, but every freaking time, every freaking time something gets in my way, it's like, well, okay, deal with this, figure it out, move on, start over, find a different way. I just never give up. I guess the point is I can't give up. I
Yeah.
don't know how to give up. I have
Yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
do other things. I
Right.
have.
Right.
I was a car salesperson for 2 years. I was like, screw this. I need to learn how to make money.
Yeah.
I did. So it was
Yeah.
fun. It's terrible. You never want to sell cars.
I don't know. I don't know anything about I think it I don't know. I don't know. It might be okay, might not. I don't know. It does sound like a hard sales. Like as far as sales jobs go, that one sounds harder.
Harder for anyone who has a heart. And I'm not trying to say people
Oh.
who sell cars don't have a heart.
Yeah.
I'm saying that anyone who sells cars will tell you that you do start to convince yourself that you are able to keep pushing somebody
Mm.
past the word no.
Mm.
An
Yeah.
interesting business. Most people come to the lot ready, they say, sharpen your pencil, They
Uh-huh.
know what this game is.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna win this negotiation. And I
Right.
always preferred it was me. But still, it's an interesting gig. But it taught me
Yeah.
how to stop living in a mindset of lack. I learned
Mm.
that I could make money. And that changed everything. So I always
Nice.
grateful to the car business for that.
It sounds like it was tough too, and but then you learned how to make money from it, and then you learned to get rid of the lack mindset, and now you're in an abundance mindset. I love
Yes,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. So then, okay, so you got derailed again in adulthood, got married, had kids, right? And you did that, so you put the acting to the side for a little bit again. What got you back?
Well,
Like how much time passed since the one woman show since I pretty much since 9/11, I think, right? Is
yeah,
yeah.
okay. So 9/11's 2001. I was married in 2004, children by 2005 and '07, so both babies then.
Yeah.
In 2010, I started driving to Chicago to go to the second city, so I started training again.
Okay. 9 years.
Yeah.
9-year break.
Doing theater locally though. Never stopped. Actually, I would take the babies to my rehearsals.
Okay. Okay. So not fully giving it up, but
I
just
never fully could
yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, in that time, so in 2005, in 2006, my sister and I produced a benefit production of the Vagina Monologues during
Oh,
V-Day. When
yeah.
Evensler lets people do it for free as long as they donate the money.
Mhm.
And we had the police called on us because we chose the venue in town that could seat Broadway's level amount, like I think it's 800 people is how many it could seat. But we chose that venue and then we started doing marketing and we were going to do it to raise money for the Riverview Center, which was the local rape crisis shelter. Cops called on us, total chaos, but we produced it and sold it out and raised $30,000 in 2 nights. It was
Wow.
phenomenal. So we've continued to also have these magical things. So maybe I'm stuck in Dubuque, but apparently that needed to happen in this area.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
mm,
Yeah. So, I wonder, when we say derail, I wonder if it's not really a derail as much as it is guidance for the better good.
I
Oh,
I so love for that to be what it is. And so
I
that's
think
what I
so.
believe it is.
Yeah. I think so because if you didn't get quote unquote derailed, you guys wouldn't have done that vagina monologues and you wouldn't have raised $30,000.
And Julian Dubuque International Film Festival would not be a thing because
No.
I've been there to connect those two people to that person and the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That, yeah.
love that.
I love it too. I love it so much because it makes me think like what we view as derailment may be a bigger picture, right? Whether
Yeah,
you believe in God or not, but like a
I do.
spiritual. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
spiritually, not
But
me at the
just,
wheel.
yeah. Yeah, I
I
love
like
that.
it.
Okay, so so we're getting close to time. So where are you now? How long have you been doing film and TV now since you took Wendy's course and then you started booking film and TV? When did that happen?
So in 2018, I took Wendy's course and I put myself on a 5-year plan. In January of this year,
Yes.
pulled the trigger on the plan. So I spent all that time, getting what I needed, saving money, doing whatever I needed to do in January of this year. I pulled the trigger on that plan, started taking class with James Saccone. Again, I had been doing it for quite some time and then I joined him again, signed up for CD workshops. By March, I had 2 television auditions, one with Chicago Med and one with Chicago PD, and I booked Chicago PD. So that's a co-star. I got a new agent who's, SAG affiliated. My last agent wasn't, which is why I had to move on. And I have a new manager in LA. I have done a couple of films since then. One of them, as you noted, I won the Best Supporting Actress award that I also produced that film, and that's still getting laurels. It's still, making the circuit. And I just
Yes.
recently booked a commercial and a role. I love this story. It's actually, so this is a feature length film. It's the first feature length film that I have ever been moved to a chemistry read for. Uh,
Okay.
and I haven't auditioned for any, really. It's like probably the first one I ever auditioned for. It was. I've auditioned for 2 since, but this one, I got the chemistry read for, met with the producers, did the chemistry read, and I just got off the phone with him a couple of days ago. He said, listen, I fought for you. I want you as the lead. However, the producer got somebody who, she's just a more named actress than me. She just finished doing Yellowstone. And I celebrated. I said, well, my friend, that's amazing. But he said, but here's the deal. You were amazing. I want you in it. So I'm going to have this role written into a bigger role for you. So that's what I booked.
Yes.
I think that's pretty cool. He was so wonderful and gracious about it and sad about it. He was like, I saw you as my character name. But I
Right.
was like, man, whatever it is, I'm gonna be thrilled to be on set with you. And could I be more grateful that you want to expand a role for me based on my audition? Amazing.
So good. That's
Yeah.
so good, right?
Blessed.
I love it. Okay. Because if it's an actor that's listening, they would want to know, like, well, what plan did you make? And then how did you implement it? And then this is so fantastic to hear this specific audition story because you could go any way with the quote unquote result, right? But it's so phenomenal. Like, it's not like you didn't get it, it's that you got it. Just they needed a name actor for business purposes. But that guy loves you. He is writing that character and expanding that role for you. I mean, that's freaking awesome,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's a win.
That's a huge win. How you created a strategy, or was it directly through the Hollywood Winner Circle as a result of that?
Well, until I got to Hollywood Winners Circle, the strategy was just keep auditioning when I had time, keep pretending like I was an actor. And I say that
Mm.
deliberately because I couldn't be. I really wasn't able to do that much. But well, locally, so like for actors who are in communities where they're not like in LA or Chicago or Atlanta or wherever, if you're in a community where you feel like it's impossible for you to go get roles because you just can't jump in your car, what I did was I found all of the local producers within the distance that I would be willing to drive financially that I was able to afford. I send them headshots and resumes with a cover letter saying, hey, I'm a local actor. I do voiceover. I could do screen. I would do your first one free. right? So I actually did a lot of commercial work as an independent actor, just driving my own ship with no direction from anyone. When I got to the point where going with the Hollywood Winners Circle, that was finally because I took a break from actors. I could learn how to make money. And that's what I did. I put money in my pocket. And then when that opportunity came along, I paid the money. I was
Yeah.
like, this woman's know if she's got more information outside of all the things I've done on my own, that's more information. Even if I only learn one thing from her, one thing
Right.
will be worth its weight in gold for me because I've taught myself a lot just to
I
hustle.
love it. I love it. I love your mindset. I love your hustle. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that tip. And this is another great example of how you don't have to be, quote, in LA or the major markets, New York, Atlanta. You can still freaking do it.
Amen.
And like this upcoming movie, which you can't say what it is yet, but that's going to be so cool because that's like a major, it's like a feature film,
Yes.
right? It's like, yeah,
Yes. Yep.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got about a couple minutes left. So before we go, tell us what can we do in the meantime? Like, is there anything you'd like to anything else you'd like to promote coming up in August, September 2024? How we can follow you, stay in touch, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Chrissy Hogue Bartels is where you can find me on Instagram, YouTube. I release things on YouTube. I have a podcast called Violent Women in Film. Season 2 is being released in August. I also, so my website's also chrissyhoguebartels.com. So anything that I do is probably, that's a good starting point. But Instagram, following me on Instagram and YouTube is where the most that I go and hang out. Yeah, I think that's it. I have books and stuff that I've written on how to make a living acting anywhere, which gives lots of information on how to do that, by the way.
What are those books called? Where can you find them?
So Make a Living Acting Anywhere is on Amazon, and you can find them at chrissyhoguebartels.com. It'll be in
Nice.
my pages somewhere, but yeah.
Nice. Oh my God, that's so cool. What's your favorite or least horrible food that you've ever had?
So my father always instilled in us that he was a playwright in New York, by the way, and he worked for the New York Times later in his life. So he ended up that we were now the story gets too long, but we were raised by this playwright bohemian father in New York City, and we were broke our whole existence. And then when we went away, he got promoted at the New York Times and did much more cool things. But he was a playwright
Yeah.
and had all these great friends all over the place. So even though we were very broke, he had all of these friends in the business and all over the place would invite us places. A friend of his invited my father, who was raising my sister and I at the time, we were 12 and 10, I think, out to Jersey Shore.
Mm-hmm.
And they served raw octopus. And I was like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
Put it down in front of me, raw octopus. I would love to say that this is my favorite food, but it's not. My father, even though I said, no, thank you, said, not in my house, kid. We don't say we don't like something unless we try it. And then I enforce that on my children because that's what we do. So I tried it.
Yeah.
And the texture was out of this world horrendous. It was just awful. It had and everything. It was terrible. Anyway, I've never tried it again because I believed that I'm just this one thing going to be stubborn about it. No, daddy, I'm not gonna like it. I
Yeah.
made the choice to not like it forever. Maybe I
Yeah.
should try. Thank you. I loved it here. This is like the best podcast experience of my life.
Oh,
Great podcast.
it is because you're the guest. So,
How I appreciate you.
oh, thank you. I appreciate you. You're very giving. So, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for listening to Conversations with Aaliyah Lay. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on Instagram at Aaliyah Lay, ALYALEI.